So hey YouTube, so this is a budget video. Now I've done budget videos before in the past, and I've done the line by line thing, and I'm not going to do that this time because I've done it before and nothing's changed. However, things have changed since the outbreak, so I wanted to kind of break that down for you. Now, I realize that we've got a whole bunch of new subscribers here on the channel, and you may not have seen my previous budget videos. I think I've done two. I did one that discussed, actually the first one I did talked more about your budget depends on your personality, which I still believe. It affects your budget the most, I think. And the second one, I broke it down line for line, how much I pay for rent, blah, blah, blah. And that hasn't changed. So for those of you that are new and or just like to get to the bottom line, because I hate videos where guys go on and on and on and on about this and that and the other, and you gotta wait 42 minutes to find out what the friggin' guy spends per month. I spend, on average, over the last 3 years, if I spread it out, break it down, we can give or take $100 either way, I suppose, 1,500 American dollars, USD. Okay? So if you're at work and the boss is coming around the corner and you got to go, now you know that's my monthly budget. But if I want to unpack the budget deal a little bit more, I'd like to address it on a couple of different levels. Number one, can I, not you, because I only talk about me, remember, I don't give advice, but can I live for more, less, or the same as a single guy, as opposed to being with baby May or a significant other? That's one topic. Number two is, did I spend more or less, and what did I learn during so far about 2.5, I think, months of quarantine, having to stay home pretty much. And then I also wanted to, at the end of the video, for those of you that may want to hang in there, I don't like to do long videos, you know that. But if time allows, I'd like to go over a couple of other miscellaneous things like apartment hunting and just some other stuff, some comments that I've gotten. So here we go. The budget, $1,500. Here's the deal. It's broken down that way. Before I moved out here, I watched every single solitary budget video that was available from bloggers that are doing what I'm doing now, talking from the Philippines about their budget. And everybody seemed to come in right at $1,000. And that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, because I watched videos forever. And there's a lot of guys out there that are still living just fine on $1,000. My friend Gio does. If you guys know Gio in the Philippines, that's about what he spends every month. I think under the quarantine, he came in under that because he couldn't go out as much, and his girlfriend was gone for a week, and blah, blah, blah. So I have one month, I forget when, probably 1.5 years ago, I said, I'm going to live on $1,000 this month. And I did it. So I guess there's been so much interest from private messages and from conversations and from comments that I'm getting from a whole bunch of different guys about moving out here, about this very subject. How much money do I need? Can I retire? Can I take my pension of X amount of dollars, and can I live well out there? Hard to tell you if you can live well or not, because I don't know what your idea of living well is. I know what my idea is. So that being said, there was something else I wanted to go over. It'll come to me. Anyway, so on a monthly basis, I have $400 that goes out, and these are approximates, kids. They go up and down $5, $10. But basically, you could say that I spend $400 for my rent, and then another 100 on top of that for water, electricity, and maybe my phone bill. So those are what I call static charges. And that leaves me $1,000 left over if I take out 15. Now, I'm on Social Security. This is the point I forgot that I wanted to make. And Social Security, for me, comes in on the second Wednesday of every month. It's actually the very first time in my life I haven't been on commission. So it's kind of cool. I know exactly what's going to hit my bank on the second Wednesday. Where before, I might have, when I was working and I was on commission, I might make a really big check one month and then make zippity-doo-dah the next month. So it was really hard to try to, set a definite thing. Anyway, don't let me get off track, kids. Keep me focused. The interesting thing is if you're coming out here and you're going to be getting a Social Security check, take a look at your calendar, because the second Wednesday of the month sometimes happens every 4 weeks, and then sometimes there's a 5-week gap, depending on how the month falls, that you're going to be waiting for your next check. So I'm very cognizant of that now. I didn't figure it out until it was too late. But there's either a 28-day window between the check I get, say today, to the next check if I'm in a 4-week pay period. And if I got paid today and there's a 5-week window open until I get my next check, I'm going to be looking at 35 days, right? So if I take my money and break it down, if I'm spending $500 on static stuff, rent, electric, water, and what else? Phone, and that kind of knucklehead stuff. And again, these are round numbers. You can add or take, you can take away, or you can add $50, I guess, if you want to, because things do vary sometimes. The electric bill goes up or down. But I use the 500 as a number for all of that. And you say, well, gee whiz, $1,000, that's what most guys live on. That's true. But I have a different personality than a lot of those guys. Remember, I have a video about that, if you ever want to go look at it. And I won't waterboard you with that whole thing all over again. But to sum it up, some guys can come out here and they can just sort of hang out all day at home, and they've got a project. Maybe they buy an old motorbike or a car, like my friend has just bought a car and a Jeep, and he's going to be working on that thing for years. And he loves it. It's his passion, and he's great at it, and he'll have a ball doing it, and he won't spend a bunch of money on it. So there's other guys that maybe they're writing a book, or they just like to play on the computer, etc., etc. There's the other guys, I think I fall somewhere in the middle, but there's other guys that every day, they're single perhaps, or married, I don't know. They go out every day and just drink. And I say, God bless them. That's what they came out here to do. Rock on, You're a screaming alcoholic. You don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. Beer is cheap. You get to sit around the table with a bunch of other alcoholics, and you guys get to talk about whatever it is alcoholics talk about. And, you have a plate of nachos, and you drink from morning, noon, and night, and that's how you spend your money. Cool. There are guys that want to take trips every weekend, and they want to go to this island and that island. I got friends that do that. So their budget is way over mine, because they're flying here. This is before the Corona thing, keep in mind. But they're going here and they're bouncing over there, and they go to Cebu and they get an Airbnb and blah, 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 blah. So their budget is totally different. However, their static deal is pretty similar to mine. Their overhead is roughly $500 for the rent and the water and the electric and their phone. And then it really just boils down to recreation stuff and food. So I can get by. What I learned over the quarantine was I was not allowed to go out and sit at a restaurant, which is my normal thing. I was not allowed to go out and pay way too much money for a coffee at like Tom Tom's or Starbucks or Bo's, which is kind of my hobby, as you will. And for the guys that like to drink, I like to drink coffee. And I like to meet people. And I like to have conversations in coffee shops where we got some internet and Baby May comes along and we just kind of kibitz that way. And then we'll bounce out of there and maybe we'll get a bite to eat and go home. But generally, during the month, quarantine or no quarantine, Baby May and I go to a place called Hypermart and we spend probably $125 a shot, minimum 2 shots a month. So that's $250 just for food items here. And then on top of that, you got your shampoo and this and that and the other. And then the rest I would piddle off on restaurants and the coffees and this, that, and the other. And that's where the $1,500 would go. So during the quarantine, we were not allowed to go out. And I saved a lot of money because we didn't go here and there. We were able to get into the Hypermart, which is a whole other story because there was passes and sometimes we couldn't get in. We also discovered a little sorry store that's up the road here that was no hassle, and May discovered that it was cheaper to buy a lot of stuff there than even Hypermart. So like we've got another new place to go to. And we just stayed home during the last 2 months. May cooked, which is her passion. I ate, which is one of my passions. My diet went right out the window, but more about that another time. But we didn't really get bored because at that time, her YouTube channel and my little YouTube channel really just kind of lit up for some reason. I think it was because of the quarantine. People were watching more YouTube. And so I was occupied with this a lot. Had a lot of comments, had a lot of this, had a lot of that, sent a lot of emails. We had done some projects as far as helping some people. Some members of May's family had met some tragedy. A while back, a fellow vlogger named Jenny, her daughter had fallen out of a tree and broke her arm, so we had raised some money towards that. So we were busy getting stuff distributed as far as goods and money being sent off and trying to send emails of thank yous to people, and some of that was more successful than others because of the conditions here with the internet, the brownouts, but getting off track. Anyway, the budget really got reduced during the quarantine just because we were not going out to eat. Now, going out to eat or going out to have a coffee, if I was to look at it and say, okay, I'm putting 500 pesos in my pocket and nothing else, well, that would cover it. That would cover, going to this restaurant that we go to. I know what the prices are. I know what we're going to spend. And maybe 600, now that I'm thinking about it, would take care of it. That's 12 bucks. But when we go out, it never is just that. We went out, we got down to Dumaguete yesterday because we had our, you can see this, we had our quarantine pass. And yesterday was our day, and they finally let us go down the hill as opposed to just up. And we stopped off and we got some medicine from May and picked up that prescription. And I picked up my passport at immigration. I need to do a video about immigration. I haven't forgotten. And travel and flights and all that kind of stuff. That'll be coming up in the future. What else did we do? Jesus Christ. We went there. We went to a pharmacy, and we had to jack around there twice because we had to go back and get the prescription rewritten because the one we had was wrong or something. I don't know. Anyway, and then we bought something. But my point being, I think the guys that bailed out when they heard the 1,500 are the big winners of this video. I'm getting nowhere fast all of a sudden. Anyway, my point being is that we don't just go and accomplish our missions. In other words, we don't just go and have a coffee when we go out. We don't just go to the pharmacy and pick up our meds or our immigration thing. We stop and we'll see something that's supposedly a bargain, and it's usually food, and that's fine. Or she'll see something at an okai store that's, you know, $1, it's $2, and she wants it, and I go, sure, let's get that. I need a soda, I need this, I'm hot. You know, sometimes when we're out and about like that, and we've got one of those days where we're trying to accomplish a lot of stuff, I start chasing air conditioning because it's been hot. And so we'll run this errand, we'll run that errand, we'll get that done, and we will, and again, this is usually without this corona thing going on, but we will jump into a McDonald's or any place that's enclosed and has air, because this old boy needs to friggin' cool off. It's hot. And so while we're at McDonald's, we get kind of like an unnecessary drink, and May wants a snack. And so basically what I'm telling you is that we managed to piss away a lot of money that we don't need to. And we didn't do that during the quarantine. And there's one other thing that didn't happen during this time is we didn't have any unexpected expenses. Part of that $1,500, aside from the food and the frivolous stuff, I have packaged in that a minimum, this is a bare bones minimum, of $100 for what most guys call it a miscellaneous category or an unexpected event category. I have coined the phrase for that $100, maybe more, as shit happens. And when I say that, I'll give you a quick example. There was a 4-month period where I originally developed a rash. And I went to a dermatologist, and the dermatologist misdiagnosed me and said, okay, you've got this. And I said, okay. And she wrote me out this prescription. And when I got to the pharmacy, the pills were almost $200. Yeah, you heard me, $200. And the cream that she gave me was like $20, and I think I had to buy 2 tubes. So we're at $250, round numbers again, boys and girls. I did that for a month and nothing happened with the rash. It was still there. So I went back and I said, I don't think this is fixing it. She goes, oh no. She says, you have a very aggressive case. I said, oh, okay, well, she's a doctor. Went back and did it all over again. Little change in the medicine, little change in the cream, same stuff, different name, basically, you know what I mean? Another $250. And then I went 3rd month, I still had the problem. I went to another doctor, which is in a video called my Crazy Doctor video. But anyway, I went to this different dermatologist. She goes, no, you don't have that at all. You got something different. And so she figured out what it was, but it required a biopsy and stuff sent off to Manila to get that checked, and blah, 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 blah. And I can't remember the price for the medicine and the biopsy and her visit 2 or 3 times, and the 2 or 3 different things that I had to try to see what was wrong. And that was a deuce. That was $200. So what have we spent? We spent about $200 a month. I think that adds up to about $800 somewhere along the line. Over a 4-month period, there's $200 a month right there. I'm being generous when I say $100 a month. And then back in January, again, medical, me and May were down for the count, man. I mean, we were in bed, both of us. My friend Mark made an observation. He was sick in January. We were coughing like crazy. May, my friend Mark. And we had fevers, and I had night sweats, and all this stuff was going, and it just wouldn't end. Cough, cough, cough. We went to the doctor, and they said, well, you guys have got, me and May I'm talking about, you have upper respiratory issues. So you need an antibiotic. So we went and got the expensive Z-Pak, non-generic antibiotics. I forget what those cost, but it was at least the Cino I was talking about. And that was in January. We took those, nothing happened. And then probably somewhere in the middle of February, we both started feeling better. And I was talking with my friend Mark the other day, and he says, remember when you and I and May were sick in January? I said, yeah. He goes, I think we had that COVID stuff. And you know what? I don't want to say I did or I didn't, but it was an interesting statement. I said, you know what? It sure meets the guidelines, doesn't it? He goes, yeah, fever, hard time breathing, coughing. None of us could catch our breath. And my chest hurt real bad. May's chest hurt real bad. I didn't get into details with what happened to Mark, but pretty much he said it sounded like an elephant was sitting on his chest, if I remember correctly. But that was an expense. So that's what I kind of want to throw out there at you. As far as if you're coming out here and you're thinking about, what do I spend per month? That $1,000 number is sure pretty. And yeah, I can do it. I'm not saying you can. I'm saying I've done it. I did it this month. I did it the month before. We didn't have any oh shit moments. There was no shit happened events. None of us got sick or had to go to an expensive deal there. We ate at home. We didn't go out and piddle away a bunch of unnecessary money. And so we lived during this virus thing for about $1,000 a month, maybe $1,100. Again, I haven't worked out the numbers. I didn't keep receipts or anything. I didn't know I was going to do this video until about 30 minutes ago. Anyway, and then the two can live as much as one. I have a yes and no answer to that. If I'm living here as a single guy and I'm under quarantine, I don't really have a passion for cooking. May does. And I definitely have no passion for cleaning up after I've cooked whatever it is I've managed to butcher over there on the stove. So under these conditions, I can honestly tell you that it's a lot less expensive to have a little Filipina girlfriend that knows how to cook and cook at home. Even though I was under quarantine between you, me, and a fence post, there were places that I could have gone and bought food, especially takeout food. And that is, my educated guess about myself is probably what I would have done the majority of the time. Gotten a pizza from this place that I know about and gotten a chicken thing at this guy's place. And there were guys that kept things rolling during, I'm not gonna mention who. But another factor of the 2-1, me having a Filipina girlfriend, is that she knows prices, and I'm lousy at that stuff, man. And she knows a good price on a mango, a tomato. She knows where to buy chicken. So when we went shopping, when we did do this big grocery shopping, we did that 2 or 3 or 4 times now since this whole thing started, and we've spent 5, 6, 7,000 pesos a crack. But the food has lasted because she gets these awesome deals. She knows where to go for this. We make 3 or 4 trips when we're allowed to leave the house because she says, no, you don't go buy chicken there, you buy it there. You don't buy your fruit there, you buy it over here. And if you want this, we're going to go over there. And then we got our little nugget called Marcos. That's just got great deals on stuff like milk and all this other stuff that she makes. So that's that. if when the virus thing ends, I do believe that what will happen is the budget will bump down about $100 or so. I had a reduction in income when I turned 65 because the Part B of my Medicare kicked in and they take out, I think, $114 for that. So my check actually went down, and I need to make the adjustment for that to stay on track. I haven't done that so far. And to answer everybody's question, Medicare doesn't work over here. No, no, no. I have to go home or Guam or something like that if I want to use my Medicare. But I have it in case, you know, I get diagnosed with whatever. So I'm running out of time. I ran long because I had a lot of Joe Biden moments there. May and I are looking for a new apartment. That is verified. We're in the looking stages. One of the effects of the quarantine is I felt that we both feel stagnant because we've just had the same point of view. The same, I walk outside, I see the same pool, I see the same building, I see the same coconut tree, and it's just gotten boring. I've been here 2 years. There's absolutely positively nothing wrong with my apartment. It's a lovely place. I've mentioned in the past that there's brownouts. Everybody has brownouts. I've mentioned in the past that we've ran out of water. Well, that's not the apartment's fault. It's the Valencia Water District. So if I'm out of water, the guy across the street, unless they've got some big ass storage tank, I'm not saying 100%, but they ration the water during certain parts of the year. So that was the effect there. But I don't ever want to get into another Groundhog Day state of mind. And I have decided that it's time for me and May to actually try to downsize it a little bit more as far as our overhead and not take a place quite as nice as this. I don't know, as nice but less money, but basically, or the same money. Basically, what I'm looking to do is get a new point of view. Not just a view, but a point of view. I've gotten into a routine here. I've gotten comfortable. I've gotten a little bit melancholy, I think. It's just too much of a friggin' routine. And I want to change my routine. I don't want to make a big change. Leaving America and coming to the Philippines, that was a massive change. It was awesome. I've explained that 100 times in other videos. But now I've been here, I've really enjoyed this area, but it's gotten almost too simple. I know I'm taking the same roads to the same places. I'm looking out the door and I'm seeing the exact same scenery. I look across the street, I see the same dog walking, and I just want to break it up a little bit. I'm not moving to a new island. I'm not going to change everything around. I'm not going to go native. I don't want to go down to Dumaguete proper towards the city because it's too freaking hot and crowded and smoggy. May's a mountain girl. I like the mountains. We are going to shop for a place that's further up in the mountains, and we want to get a little more remote. We want to get a little more isolated, a little more privacy. And that's kind of the bottom line on that. So anyway, God dang it, I'm almost 30 minutes and I meant to do like 15. So anyway, thanks for hanging in there. I hope some of this made sense. And again, thank you for your comments. Thanks for all the new subscribers. I hope everybody's doing well. God bless. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.